Gameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Sit next to Rafael Fernandez, and he's bringing you his top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL fantasy football season for 2011. So let's just start the video by going with the #1 quarterback overall. I'm guessing it's not Stan Humphries.
Good old Stan. I have #1 at Aaron Rodgers, and the reason I have him #1 is because he's going to throw the ball all over the place this year. He has good targets to throw to, and he's also a threat to run the ball as well. And you guys saw what he did last season, and he's just going to continue to get even better, believe it or not. I just think he's #1 quarterback.
Yeah, when you have a coach that doesn't run the football and a quarterback that has a lot of weapons, that equals fantasy success. So I see why you have him #1. Who's next on the list?
#2, I have Phillip Rivers, and the reason I have him up there is because if you look at the last couple of seasons, he's improved numbers-wise every year by a little bit. So I believe this year, Phillip Rivers could be a guy that could challenge for the MVP. And being that they struggled at running the ball last year, he's going to throw the ball more. And the fact that he kept his 2 big targets, Vincent Jackson and Malcolm Floyd, is going to put up big numbers. And don't forget about Antonio Vick.
And they might struggle again running the football this season. So Phillip Rivers is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. Very tough player. Who you have at #3?
At #3, I have Drew Brees of the Saints, and I have him here because I believe that even though he had a pretty good year last season, to his standards, he could do better, and I'm sure he would want to do better, and I believe he is. So I think he's going to put up numbers similar to what he did 2 seasons ago, and could carry a fantasy football team to the playoffs.
Yeah, 2 things about Brees. You got to look at this year. They may lean a little bit more on the running game with the addition of Mark Ingram, and also he has to cut down on those interceptions. So I understand why you have him at #3. #4 on your list.
#4, I have Tom Brady, and I have him up here because last season he had a pretty good season. And he didn't have much targets to throw to other than the 2 rookie tight ends and Wes Welker. But this season he has Chad Ochocinco as well, so I think he's going to put up slightly better numbers than what he did last season. And Tom Brady is one of the safer picks in fantasy. I mean, he's going to consistently put up numbers for you. And let's be honest, they're allergic to running the ball up in the league.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They do not run the football up there in New England. So when you throw the football 80 times a game, 80% of the time, you got to go with Tom Brady, like you said, one of the safer picks. Who rounds out your top 5?
Top 5, I have Peyton Manning, and I would have him higher, but the thing is, right now, he's coming off that surgery, and he's not practicing with the team. He's not going to training camp. At the end of the day, it's not really going to matter, but, he would be a little higher if we're not for that, but he is one of another safe pick in fantasy, a guy that just, knock on wood, doesn't get hurt for you, puts up consistent numbers, and can again carry a team to a playoff just like Tom Brady.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with either Brady or Manning. 2 safer picks, like you said. #6.
#6, I have Michael Vick, and this may surprise some people because some people might pick him first. Vick, as great as he is, he's going to put up great numbers. He's going to run the ball just like a running back and throw the ball. Basically, you have a running back and a quarterback in one. But the problem with Vick is he's too erratic when he runs the ball, so he's an injury risk. So he's a guy that'll put up great numbers one week and could miss the game the next. So you want consistency with your fantasy team as well as points. But that's why Vick is not as high as most people have.
Yeah, reckless running gets you injured, which is why he's only completed 1 full season throughout his career. #7.
#7, I have Matt Schaub of the Houston Texans. He's a guy that consistently has put up numbers every season. I mean, he has Andre Johnson to throw to, so that's always going to be a good thing. And I think he's shaken the injury bug threat that he's had the last couple of seasons. So I think he's, again, another safe pick to put up some good numbers for you in fantasy.
All right, #8.
#8, I have Ben Roethlisberger of the Steelers. Here's a guy that, the Steelers were more known for running, but over the years, if you've noticed, they've been throwing the ball more and more. This is a guy that missed 4 games last season due to suspension and still finished in the top 10 in quarterbacks as far as numbers for fantasy. So here's a guy you could take that's definitely going to shut the ball down the field.
Right, he takes chances deep down the field as opposed to those other quarterbacks who throw a lot of dink and dunk passes. Who you have at #9?
#9, I have Tony Romo, who's one of the best fantasy quarterbacks out there. I mean, last season, obviously, he got hurt, and he didn't finish well, but now this season, I think he's going to have, Des Bryant is an up-and-coming wide receiver. Miles Austin is a pretty good receiver. I mean, he's going to he has Jason Witten to throw to as well. And, they have question marks at their running game, so I believe Romo's going to throw more. So he may be the guy that at the end of the season, you're going to wonder why you didn't draft him. Tony Romo, I might have him higher, but, he's a good pick in fact.
He does put up a lot of great numbers, and that's a jewel for fantasy owners. Who rounds out your top 10?
Top 10, I have at the top 10 I have Matt Ryan of the Atlanta Falcons. He's a guy that has all the tools and he can make all the throws. The problem with him is, and the reason why he's not higher on the list, he doesn't take much risk. I believe he gets a little too scared, whenever there's pressure on him. But he has great receivers to throw to and a tight end as well. So he's going to put up numbers for you. That's a definite.
Yeah, and they added Julio Jones. They added another running back in Rodgers that can catch the ball in the backfield. So you have to think his passing numbers will improve. He just has to make sure he steps up into the pocket and not continue to backpedal. Who you have at number 11?
At 11, I have Cutler, and this is a pick that he's basically a pick that could do great for you one week and then make you curse your team the next. But Cutler is that guy you want to have on your team if you want to, depending on the matchup. Now that he has Roy Williams to throw to, Roy Williams may have looked bad for the Dallas Cowboys, but I think he's going to have a resurgence for the Bears, and the reason why is because the fact that he knows the offense, and I think that's going to improve Cutler's numbers.
Cutler has to just cut down on those interceptions, and yes. I think that all can be attributed to the protection up front. If he trusts his protection, then he's going to throw touchdowns instead of interceptions. Who's number 12?
Eli Manning of the New York Giants. He's a guy that I had higher previously until I heard that Kevin Boss went out to sign with the Raiders. Giants fans, you may not think that's a big loss. That's a huge loss because that is Eli's checkdown guy. Now, who's he going to throw the ball to when there's pressure on him? So Eli, even though he's going to throw the ball often, he may actually have the same problem he had last year with throwing turnovers because of the fact that he's going to miss his checkdown.
Yeah, they better hope Travis Beckham steps up and be the tight end that Kevin Boss was. So, who you have at number 13?
At 13, I have Joe Flacco of the Baltimore Ravens. He's a guy that every year has improved bit by bit. He's a guy that, he may not be the number one quarterback for your team, but he's a great solid number 2 or a guy that you want to plug in for a spot start. He's going to throw the ball a little more this year. Not as much as probably you would want to out of your fantasy quarterback. So it's a guy that'll put up decent production for you.
I like Flacco a lot, man. Gets a lot of flack, but I really like Flacco. 14.
At 14, I have Sam Bradford. I don't think he's going to go through the sophomore jinx in St. Louis. This guy's a real deal, and he has pretty good receivers to throw to. And I really like Sam Bradford and that team. I like the direction they're going, and he's a pretty good quarterback. He's a solid number 2 fantasy quarterback now, only his second year.
Number 15. He has to stay healthy, though, by the way.
That's the only thing, yes. At 15, I have Josh Freeman of the Buccaneers. This guy is like a poor man's Ben Roethlisberger. He does everything right. He doesn't turn the ball over much, and he's another threat to run the ball. So again, another guy that's a solid number 2 quarterback for you, and that could put a decent number in front of him.
And rounding out the top half of your quarterback rankings list.
At 16, I have Mark Sanchez and for the Jets, and this is a guy that he has pretty good targets now with Antonio Holmes and Flacco Burst. And not to mention Dustin Keller at tight end. The only thing is they have to, cut the umbilical cord there in New York and let the guy throw the ball. He has the ability. Just let him do it. And if he does, he could sneak up from being not just the number 2 quarterback, but possibly sneaking up into the upper echelons of quarterbacks. Maybe not this season, but he's getting there.
Take the training wheels off and let the guy throw. So let's take a look at your quarterback rankings from pick 17 through 32. For fantasy football previews, visit footballgameplan.com/fantasy or visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan. And listen to the Football Game Plan radio show, which airs Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.